Okay, so why don't we start with you guys introducing yourself and explaining how you are related to Brady Meltzer.
Okay, I'm Marcia St. John, Marcia Spalding St. John, and I am his granddaughter, his second oldest granddaughter.
So I'm Dan Spalding. I'm grandson. So then my mom would be, Martha would be the other part of that relation then.
Okay, and which one of Brady's children was Martha? She was the...
The middle one?
Yeah, Martha was his second daughter, the middle child.
Okay, and were you raised here on the homestead?
Yes.
What are some of your fondest memories of being raised here?
Probably all the outside adventures we could take as kids. Mom and Dad always had us doing a lot of chores around here, but we learned to work well together, and we did. But having free time and going out and spending time playing in the woods was just the best. We would, as the kids got a little, well, as we kids got a little bit older, we would fire up Dad's garden tractor that had a wagon on the back. So we would pile all the kids in the wagon and fix a thermos of Kool-Aid and peanut butter jelly sandwiches and chocolate drop cookies, and we'd spend the whole day out in the woods, out where the creek is, and then venture out from there. So it was always fun being able to spend time outdoors.
There's so much activity going on, but I guess my biggest to do was the family here, more so than, because when I went to go see Grandpa, the Grandpa I never knew Grandpa to walk. He'd already had the stroke and didn't walk after that. Some of the fondest memories for Grandpa would have been just going up and spending time, and he would be either laying in bed or sitting in bed and watching TV. And then Uncle Philip would come in, we'd go for coffee, which they drank coffee. I'd give me a glass of milk and some cookies, and Grandpa drank his coffee out of a glass straw. He drank his beer out of a glass straw because he had to shake so bad that he couldn't hold a drink, from normal cup. We went to Rushville Steam Show several times, and that was in the white convertible. And we went to Friendship several times, and that was in the white convertible. Now, Uncle Philip always drove, and Grandpa rode shotgun, and then somebody would be... I never went by myself with them, so there's always somebody else, maybe Tom or Dave, would have been with us on those trips. I think we always stopped at some little country grocery store that was... anymore, it'd just be somebody's garage, but at the time it was a grocery store. And we would get pimento loaf, and that would be our sandwiches for our outing. And then, I can't remember, it seemed like we would have water then, because like I said, Cokes was just a real luxury back in them days. So, those are some of my fondest memories. Setting trap up there, spending time with Grandpa. He would wheel the chair out on the side porch and would shoot black powder guns, and they never put any bullets in it, just paper. And I mean, the whole side yard would be full of paper. Yeah. So it's kind of about the extent of the fond memories.
I can remember early on when I was a child, as I said, I was the second oldest grandchild and granddaughter, and we lived here, and of course, and so he and Uncle Philip would often stop by in their pickup truck and take me to town with them, and of course I said, fine, that's fine, go ahead and go, and I was a little intimidated about Grandpa. He wasn't a warm, fuzzy kind of a person, but he was kind of thoughtful. So we would go to town and end up usually at the John Deere place or some type of farming equipment place, and he would always buy me a doll. I had dolls, baby dolls that had beautiful dresses on them. I can remember laying them out and playing with them in the playroom upstairs, and it would be like 10 or 12, and so he was kind of thoughtful in a lot of ways. And when we would come back, we would stop at Emma's, which was the little grocery store that was right at the intersection of 244 and 421, where St. Vincent Church is. It was just a little building. We'd stop there, and Emma had all the candy behind her, behind the cash register. So he'd have Emma fill up a bag of candy and give it to me and drop me off, and that was my adventure with him. It was so much fun. And also with the dolls, we would go to Friendship, as Dan mentioned, and I can remember being very small, and he went there quite often with Mom. Mom took him. But I can remember him buying me dolls there as well. And I have one doll that I still have, and it's a very small China doll. And Mom had crocheted an outfit for it. And I can remember seeing her up at Grandpa's house doing the crochet on the little dress. And I have it. It's in my bedroom at home. It's still a really nice reminder of him and what he did for me.
Yeah, so you mentioned that he had a pretty large gun collection, and I know Tommy got some of those guns. Do you have any of his guns like that?
I do not.
Okay. What do you remember about the gun collection?
Other than wheeling out on a side porch, and they would pick one, and it made a lot of noise. Basically, that was what he was after, is to make a lot of noise. So they'd pack a lot of paper in there. So, and I think a couple times Aunt Betty kind of got upset because the whole side yard was full of newspaper.
Okay. What, I know you've mentioned this a little bit already. What other memories do you have about the woods?
See, there again, Grandpa didn't walk when I, knew Grandpa. But Philip would walk the woods all the time. And he told stories when we would cut weeds out of the beans. But there again, that's Philip and not Grandpa.
You talk about Philip, too.
Okay. So Philip, he did this. You would walk. You start early in the morning, cutting weeds out of the beans, and so from your waist down would be soaked and wet just in a short time. And then when the sun came out, it would dry you up. So you just never had to go change because. But anyway, he had all these stories. One of them that really I remember. I don't remember what led up to it, but it was a story of maybe a young couple or a grocery store. It just is, and then towards the end of it, he would say something about what a hen would weigh. And I says, what the heck is a hen weigh? He's all about 5 or 6 pounds, depending on what grocery store you go to. He got me on that so many times, but it was just a fun story. He was always doing those kind of stories, make you think when you're out there walking through the bean fields. That's the only actual story I remember. It's just different things he'd come up with. What if, and yeah, that would be my memories of Uncle Phil that way. One Christmas, Dad and Mom got me a little portable steam engine, like they would use in the sawmill. And mine ran on coal tablets. And so I took it up and showed Grandpa, and then, probably a month later, he called me up there, and he bought one for me. I still have it, and it was electric. And so I thought that was you was talking about the dolls, and it made me think about, wait a minute, Grandpa bought me a steam engine. So actually, at that time, I imagine Philip bought it because Grandpa didn't walk at that time. But yeah, it was like he said, it's kind of nice. You don't have to have those tablets all the time. You just plug it in, and it works.
I can remember when I was in high school, I wanted a transistor radio. You young people have no idea what that is, but it was just a small radio that didn't have a cord or anything to it. You could take it with you. And I wanted one, and they cost about $21. So Mom said, I'll talk to Grandpa and see if you can go up to his house every Saturday and clean his house for $1. And so when you've accumulated enough, then maybe you can get your transistor radio. So I faithfully walked up there every Saturday and cleaned his house because I would clean the kitchen, which is pretty disgusting, and the bathroom, which is equally disgusting. And I did it because I really wanted that transistor radio. So I thought Grandpa was going to pay me each Saturday, but he said, no, let's wait until you're all finished. So I did. Every Saturday I went over there and did that. I remember one time when he, I was straightening up his magazines. He had a rocking chair that his body fit into, and he had his magazines on the floor beside him, and they were all messy. And so I straightened them all up and neated them up in a pile, and he got so upset with me because he knew where they were when they were a mess. He didn't know where they were when they were all stacked up. So when all of my 21 Saturdays were finished, I thought, okay, now I'll get the cash and go buy my transistor radio. Well, instead, and I think, like you said, it was Uncle Philip who actually went and bought the transistor radio for me, and it was so nice. I still remember it. It had a brown leather case, and it was perfect.